Alright, so this bed here I'd like to put some cucumbers and beans in. As you can see, it's got a lot of weed activity. Hasn't been used in a couple years. So I'm just going to go in, turn the soil, clear out some of the weeds, and then we can get it ready for planting. Now I just get out the rake and just brush away the weeds. The soil here is already pretty good, so I'm just going to put a little bit of fertilizer in, turn it over, and then it's ready to plant. Alright, so I think I'm going to get this bed ready for planting. I haven't grown anything here in a year or two. I've been doing my community gardens, but this is my backyard here. I built this box. The soil is pretty good already, so I'm just going to go through and clear out these weeds with this unique looking hoe, and then I'll just rake them out and it'll be ready to put in. Thinking cucumbers and beans would be pretty good here because I've got the posts and the fencing. I can trellis it so they can climb a little bit, so I can maximize my square footage and let the plants grow upward. Now I'm just going to get the rake, take out what's been pulled up. You want to make sure to kind of shake it a little bit, get the loose dirt off so you don't lose all your soil here. Just kind of draw it out of the bed slowly, because there's a lot of soil, a lot of good soil mixed up in here. You don't want to lose all of that along the way. That's pretty good. Now I think I'm ready to turn the bed. Alright, so now I'm going to get a few shovel loads of compost from my pile. I'm going to put that in, stir it in, and then maybe add a little bit of fertilizer, and this will be good for planting. I'll do cucumbers down the center and beans on the side. The cucumbers will grow up the fence. The beans are just bush beans, but they'll cling together and they'll go along the sides. I think I'll do yellow and purple. So this compost I'm putting down, it's leaves that have been ground up by the lawnmower from a year and a half ago. I put them in a pile and they're now mostly broken down. Right now I'm just shoveling a little bit of old spent potting mix in just to fill the bed up a little bit more. It's potting mix from a few years ago. You can reuse it. You don't have to dump your pots. You can use it for a while and then put it in your garden. Right, now I'm going to put a little bit of fertilizer out. The thing about this is organic. It's basically dried manure. The thing to keep in mind about this stuff is that it gets kind of dusty. So you want to make sure whenever you do it, whenever you pour it down, you try to pour it low to the ground, not high, so you don't get the dust on you. And you want to be upwind of it too. So the wind is blowing from the north, which is this way. So I'm going to start here and work my way up so I walk into the wind. And keep it low to the ground. You're just going to want to keep turning this over and spreading it out. Smooth it out a little bit, flatten it, and then we'll be good for planting. Alright folks, so while we're here, I want to do some cucumbers in this center row right here. So I'm just going to put them in real quick. I started these are the suyo cucumbers that we started about 3 weeks ago. So I'm going to put them in now here too. And they're going to grow up, because cucumbers vine, these are going to grow up the trellis here. Let's see how many I have, and let's see how many I can fit. I try to plant them reasonably close to this. Trick to getting these out of the containers for these starter plants, you want to pinch the sides to loosen the root ball, and then rather than fight gravity, don't pluck upward, tilt it sideways. And you shouldn't break the stems. That happens quite a bit if you're not careful. Just go down the line here and put them in. So like I said, pretty good germination from a few weeks ago. I believe I did between 1 and 2 seeds per cell. So we had 1 here, 2 here. This one didn't germinate, but that happens. So I'm going to go down this other back side here, because I've got a few extra cucumbers. So I'm just going to cut a couple little rows here, and I'll drop the bean seeds in. I got to be a little bit delicate because the cucumbers are in here now. So I'm just going to kind of cut a little row here, about 1.5 inches, 2 inches deep. We'll do it on both sides. Want to be careful around the cucumbers that are planted here. Now I'm going to put in the beans. So again, I soaked my beans overnight in a little bit of water just to kind of dampen them and help get them ready to germinate. I put some of the booster, the nitrogen booster on these. These will help the beans fix nitrogen from the air into the soil better. And actually right here I've got, these are green beans, these are purple beans, and these are yellow wax beans. So I'm going to try to do, I think right here, I'm going to do the purple and the yellow. So we'll start with the yellow. These are yellow wax beans. So you just kind of scatter them, not as dense as you do the peas. I try to put one every inch, 1.5 inches. This is an 8-foot bed. It's 96 inches. So I think that's pretty good. Now we'll do purple on the other side. Even though the beans are actually brown with some of the nitrogen coating on them, they'll actually have purple pods. So let's put them in. Do the same thing here. Alright, I think that's good. Next, we're just going to cover it up. Put about 1 to 2 inches of soil on top. So I'm just going to push the mound over into the row. So we pull the soil back to make the row, to make the little trench, and we just take that same soil and just push it back over. Just nice and gentle. Being mindful of these cucumbers that are planted. It's easier to push than pull at this angle. Just push it back over. Gently cover them. This soil, like I said, is nice and soft, so there shouldn't be any resistance to the beans sprouting up in there.